Welcome. This is 80 Unplugged, a podcast featuring songwriters. We feature artists from all different parts of their musical journey and dive into the story behind their creative process and their songs. I'm AD, a songwriter and music enthusiast, and with me today is special guest Jimmy Mowery.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. So, Jimmy, what song have you chosen for the podcast and why?
I want to play a song I wrote called Damaged Goods, mostly because I feel I'm most proud of it, at least out of the batch of songs that I've released so far, as far as like from a storytelling point of view and that sort of thing.
All right, awesome. Well, he's going to perform it and then we're going to get into it.
Too much to drink, so I called home. Tears on my face and on my phone. She said, just calm down, she understood. I said, Mama, I think I'm damaged goods. Can you talk to the man upstairs? Sometimes I wonder if he hears my prayers. Ask him why I cope this way. The bottle's empty and it hurts the same. Why do I keep on messing up? She said, unfortunately, it runs in our blood. Swear I've tried the best I could, but Mama, I think I'm damaged goods. Can you talk to the man upstairs? Sometimes I wonder if he hears my prayers. Ask him why I cope this way. The bottle's empty and it hurts the same. It was one of those nights when the lights went out. Had to call you up so you could talk me down. Hearing your voice made it turn around. You said to me, son, you're not damaged goods. Can you talk to the man upstairs? Sometimes I wonder if he hears my prayers. Ask him why I cope this way. The bottle's empty and it hurts the same. It was one of those nights when the lights went out. Had to call you up so you could talk me down. Hearing your voice made it turn around. You said to me, son, you're not damaged goods. I've seen more than most people should. That's why I feel I'm damaged goods. The awful things my heart's withstood. Now I'm broken parts and damaged goods. Thanks. Yeah, I felt better about that.
Wow, Jimmy, that was an amazing performance. Can you talk a little bit about the story behind that song?
Thank you. So the story behind this song is, when was this? This was 2020, probably not long after COVID. I believe it was Memorial Day weekend. I had played a show at a place down. I was living in Myrtle Beach at the time and had one too many adult beverages that night and should not have driven home. But I did. And I I got home and my wife was obviously pretty upset with me for having too much to drink and driving. Shouldn't have done that. And she's like, you should call your mom. I don't know. And so I called my mom, and I was just upset. I was mad mostly at myself, and just being in that state, I just kept saying like, I'm damaged goods. I can't fix myself in this problem, just with playing out so much, and just, at the time was being just fed way too much booze, I guess. And just kept trying to get better at not drinking so often and so much. And just being in this industry, it just it tends to snowball for a lot of people. And I went through that, and that's kind of where this song started, at least the root of it.
Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of interviewing a lot of different songwriters at this point, and they all have slightly different motivations on why they write music. Some to create stories and worlds, some to express their emotion. What is your main motivation to write songs?
Yeah, I think initially it was to get out, bottled up emotion, stuff that, and I feel like especially guys tend to not like to talk about their feelings in general. And so it seemed to help a lot, as a teenager, to just kind of write the feelings down. And I just kind of gradually found how much I loved the craft of songwriting, of how songs are built and everything, and where maybe not everything was super deep or anything. Sometimes it's just about a fun melody and making people sing along and stuff. But I always try to keep it to where it's a relatable topic though, too. So it started as a way of getting stuff out, and then turned into painters paint and songwriters crap songs, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we can get into the lyric breakdown. This is where I'm going to read out your lyrics, and we're going to break it down piece by piece. And if you could just go ahead and talk about them, chunk by chunk. So we'll start off with the first verse, and the first verse goes, "Too much to drink, so I called home. Tears on my face and on my phone. She said, just calm down, she understood. I said, Mama, I think I'm damaged goods."
Yeah, so I tend to write and like lyrics that just say it like it is. I'm not much of a, I don't want to say I don't want, make people think about it, but I just like to write the story as it is. So it's, I had too much to drink that night, and like I said, my wife was like, you need to call your mom and and maybe have her talk some sense into you. So I called her, and then just of course, moms know how to just make their kids cry, not in a mean way, but just in a,
touching.
Yeah, exactly, tugging the heartstrings. So it was probably just man, bud, you need to chill it out. You could hurt somebody or yourself. Shouldn't be doing that. And once she heard that I was upset, just trying to calm me down as a mom would. And yeah, for some reason that phrase, that phrase "damaged goods" was just in my head that night. And
without you don't have to say I'm damaged goods because X, Y, and Z, but in general, what does that mean?
Maybe sometimes when I should be more sensitive to things, I'm not as sensitive as someone should be. I think that's kind of what I meant by like damaged goods, like not cold-hearted, but just not as maybe emotionally available as maybe like a normal person would be.
So why don't we get into the chorus? And the chorus goes, "Can you talk to the man upstairs? 'Cause sometimes I wonder if he hears my prayers. Ask him why I cope this way. 'Cause the bottle's empty and it hurts the same."
My mom's it's funny to explain. She's a very Christian woman. So a lot of times when I would call her and anything was wrong, her first thing is just like, oh, I'll pray about it. And
I did find it interesting that, like, in this song, you're asking your mother to talk to God.
Right. Because I still, here and there, I still, like, will say prayers when I'm feeling a certain way. But I'm not nearly as connected to it as she is. So that was why it was me asking her, because I feel that she's more like spiritually connected,
I think that's especially with a parent-child relationship, they are your like guiding light in way more ways than one. So it would make sense that she'd be kind of the person you talk to.
It's funny that meanwhile she would have a Coors Light in her hand and a cigarette in the other when she's telling me this stuff too. So not to throw her under the bus with that stuff, but that's just
not that the two are exclusive, but
right.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to completely paint her as like the church lady or anything like that.
So when I first heard the song, it reminded me of that part in "You Never Even Call Me by My Name" by David Allan Coe, when he talks about what makes up a country song.
Yeah.
I think thematically and lyrically, this song really calls to your country influences, whereas it has more of like a pop feel. I know you're influenced by a wide range of genres and artists. Could you talk about how this diversity affects you as an artist?
I came from, we'll just call it the Warped Tour scene. Like or now these days, everything under that umbrella is just labeled as like emo. So I was like a little emo kid as a teenager. And that's still like my favorite genre, like all the Fall Out Boy, Blink-182 stuff. But I also grew up it was more of like a guilty pleasure, I guess, at the time, but loving some like country music too. And those two things, it was like, we're never allowed to be, no one ever thought to blend them, because it was like, if you were like Warped Tour kid, like country is super uncool. But gradually over the years, as you grow up, you kind of learn to not care about the stereotypes and stuff. And just in general, those two genres have themselves started to blend over the last decade or so. And they've even like coined it like y'alternative.
I like that.
Yeah. So, but the thing that I struggled with, I would constantly have people over here like, oh man, you really should lean into the country thing. Like you would be, a great country artist. And then I'd have people over here that are like, just stick to your roots and like what you love, like the pop punk emo stuff. And yeah, when I started working on this song specifically, I think I'd mentioned to you, like, I kind of thought of it as like maybe almost writing it for somebody else, which happens a ton in country music. And I was like, I could totally hear like Miranda Lambert or like someone like that, for some reason, like a female country like singer-songwriter singing this and it being like a hit for them. But I still wanted to record it myself because I was just really proud of it as a song, and still being a DIY, like, unsigned artist. I don't have like a label telling me like, oh, you have to stay within these lines or anything like that. So my goal was to, like, if a song comes out the way it does, I want to put it out there and hope that one of them sticks eventually. And then, I don't know.
What does it mean by stick?
Like maybe takes off. That's what I've been waiting for, almost like to see, for instance, like if this one were to gain popularity or whatever, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe I should write more like that.
Lean into a genre or something? Yeah,
I think so.
So I think we could get into the next verse. And that goes, why do I keep on messing up? She said, unfortunately, it runs in our blood. Swear I've tried the best I could, but Mama, I think I'm damaged goods.
Kind of like a funny side note, but she's always saying like, we're Irish with no luck at all. It's like the saying that she always says. I think I was thinking of that, but on a not as, happy note, unfortunately, we've just, a lot of alcoholism has run in our family, and a lot of things will say that it is like hereditary. I would keep going through just phases of like knowing that I was drinking too much, too often, and without it sounding like I'm blaming it on it, but playing in the corner of a bar 5 nights a week is just not the best place to be for that situation. And it was just like, I always struggled like with telling people no, as far as like, they'd come up and be like, here's a shot. And I've always described it as like, when you're up there as the singer and someone comes up and offers you a drink, it's like they're offering you a handshake. And like, if you're like, oh, no, thanks, I quit drinking, or I'm not drinking right now, it's almost like declining to shake someone's hand. Is how it almost feels. And because people would get offended by it. So even when I'd be like, okay, I'm going to be good tonight, I'm going to have 2 or 3 drinks maximum, and I would keep going through that, and I would hit my maximum, and someone would come up and be like, here's a shot. And I'd be like, oh, I already, hit my quota for the night. And they're like, oh, come on. And that's all it would take. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, you're right. And so that's what made me write that. Like, why do I keep messing up? Like, and I remember, trying to talk to her about that. I'm like, I just can't seem to get this right. Like, it doesn't feel like a problem, but I also, say I'm going to take 2 weeks off from it, and I make it a couple days. And it was just like a constant battle kind of thing. And yeah, so it was just, that was me on the phone with her just saying, like, I swear, like, I've tried everything, or feel like I've tried everything at this point, and it just, as much as I think as I can shake it, it's hard to not fall right back into it with being, with the line of work that I'm in.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've overcome that cyclical pattern now, or?
Yes, because at this point, I haven't had anything to drink since March of 2023.
Congratulations. Way to
Thanks.
go.
Yeah.
After that verse, you go into that first part of the chorus, which I'm not going to read again since we already went through, but I'll read the second part of the chorus, which goes, "It was one of those nights when the lights went out. Had to call you up so you could talk me down. Hearing your voice made it turn around when you said to me, son, you're not damaged goods."
You know, I had a lot of fun. Like, I would go out and I'd play in these bars, and it was fun. I'd drink, and if I had too much to drink, I would just get sick, which was better than eventually I learned after you drink for so long that you don't get sick anymore. And unfortunately, then you just start blacking out and don't remember things. And and that night, like, I didn't remember driving from where I played to getting home. It was like teleporting, which is, you know, it's terrible. So that's what that second half of the chorus was about, was just that I was, you know, it was one of those nights that I just blacked out. And but she helped just talk me down from being just so upset with myself, because it was just a constant internal battle with drinking. So
A couple episodes ago, we covered one of my songs called Moment of Hope, and that's a song, you're going to see why I'm bringing this up. It's a song that's completely inspired by conversations I had with my father. Like, it has quotes from him in it, too. And I got to do the podcast and listen to him hear about me, like, break down the songs, and I heard his point of view from, like, what he thought when I wrote it. What does your mom think of this song?
She cries every time I play it. Yeah, she thinks it's great. She's, you really think you're damaged goods? I'm like, it sounded good. Like, you know, it made for a good song. Like, I don't really, like, she knows I'm a happy-go-lucky guy, like, in normal life. But sometimes you write stuff to relate to people. Like,
yeah.
You just want, that's what, you know, I feel like great songs are about, like, that you hear lyrics and like, oh wow, it's nice to hear, even if it's messed up, like, that somebody else feels the same.
Yeah, definitely. You do very interesting things with the structure in the song, like only playing half of the chorus the first time through. Like, in your notes, you call this chorus 2. This same thought-provoking approach to structure can be found in your song Ghost of You, when you open with the bridge. This may call back to your degree in songwriting from Berkeley, but I'm curious, how much of this is learned and how much of this is self-taught? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. Like, I think I have learned a lot, I think, from just the music that I listen to, because I've always been like at heart, like, a pop music fan. Like, I'm not someone that I'm not like a jam band guy at all. Like, I don't want 10-minute instrumentals. Like, I want verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, out. And give me the next song. So, which I know that this structure is interesting. I actually initially, I think I was writing it for one of my classes, which was teaching the style of, like, verse refrain. So where you don't, like, you just have, like, a verse and then you come back to a refrain. Like, I think my initial idea for it was just like, just coming back to Mama, I think I'm damaged goods was like the refrain. Like it just kept coming back to that. And it was just verses with that tagline at the end. But I think while I was in the studio with his name's Steve Sabosley, he's a singer for the band Punchline. We were initially going to do a different song, and I played him like, I just had a clip of this song. And he was like, let's do this one, which I thought was an interesting choice because he comes from that like pop punk Warped Tour world. And I'm like, I had like fiddles and stuff in mind for this song. I was like, you sure you want to do this? He's like, yeah, let's do this one. And I think he kind of helped me into this chorus idea. And then I ended up finishing it like that. And I honestly, where the bridge part, I kind of took from at least the idea, Chris Stapleton, the song, oh my gosh, I play it at like every show. Starting Over is what it's called. But it's got just like a little instrumental bridge. Because we were, Steve and I were talking about it while trying to finish like the structure of it. We're like, maybe we can just make this like instrumental with just like a pretty piano thing, and just change like the chord progression so it goes to a different place for a second and then come back into one last chorus. But then it ends on a verse, which is, yeah. Because I think I just wanted to say that one last thing, like have it kind of like come full circle maybe and finish the story, I guess.
What is the difference you noticed after a formal education between what your expectation of your career was and the reality of experience? As someone in an on-demand creative field, I have recently explored this, so it'd be interesting to hear how it applies to songwriting.
So I did start initially in the music business program, because I thought that's where I thought my whole time with my career was like, that was the side of things that I really needed to figure out. I felt like that's why I hadn't like made it, quote unquote, yet, because I needed to be more business savvy and
For yourself?
for myself. Yeah, for
Okay.
myself. And I also thought like the bad people in the industry, they were always on the business side of things, like the ones that would take your money and run with it and stuff. And I'd been through plenty of those situations. So I was like, I'm going to figure out how to do this myself so I can just be self-sufficient. But somewhere along the way during school, I took one of the songwriting classes and totally like nerded out about it. I was like, oh, so this is what I actually am supposed to be doing. And then I changed my major to songwriting. And
Do you feel like majoring in it did the outcome like you wanted? Or I don't know. Did you major in it? I
Yeah, I
assumed
did.
that. I'm sorry.
no, yeah, that's what I did end up majoring in it. And yeah, I would say in the old school way of thinking, like in my head, I'm like, so now like, what do you do with that? Cause you're not just going down the road and giving a store a resume that's like, here, I'm a songwriter,
Yeah.
hire me. Like it's still such a weird path to be like to go down, because it's like it's not just one thing. It'll be random things. Like I just wrote and recorded some like jingles for like this marketing company.
The jingle sounds interesting. Do you do a lot of like on-demand things, like for hire, I mean?
I would like for that side of things to overtake what I do live, because I've been playing live for so long and it's been my main source of income pretty much since I was 21. And not that being sober now like has much to do with it, but just in general, still being in a bar, this many nights a week or whatever, and even not in a bar, just playing out and singing live to be my only source of income. Sometimes like you get burnt out, like your voice gets tired. It's
Can't
not.
imagine the hours are good either.
No, they're better than they used to be pre-COVID. Before COVID, it was like start singing at 10 p.m., get done at 2 a.m., pack up, talk to people, not get home till 3 or 4 a.m., sit there and unwind for a second before you go to bed. And next thing you know, the sun's coming up. Like, no, and then since COVID, bars now are like, having entertainment from 6 to 9 or like 7 to 10.
So that's interesting to think of like songwriting in a more maybe company setting.
Right.
So what do you think you'd ever write song? Like you had mentioned earlier, you said you could totally imagine Miranda Lambert singing the song. And I could too. Like I can almost hear her voice in my head, like singing it.
Right.
Do you ever think about writing for other people?
I do. And I know that like, that means I need to get to the places where that's happening more often. As far as Nashville.
What's that word?
Geologically?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? You say the right word? Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh, wait, geographically.
Geographically.
Oh my gosh. We both said it wrong.
Geologically, it's wrong.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
When you put two songwriters together and try to make them think of a math word. Not math.
Rocks and math.
Anyway, you have to go to Nashville?
Yeah, Nashville, obviously that's a songwriting capital, like of the, at least of the country.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that I've read a lot of things over the years of just, I'll just say, Luke Bryan went there to make it. And initially he got a publishing deal as a songwriter. Chris Stapleton, people always bring him up as like, he was a big songwriter, I guess, for years before he took off as an artist. And
that's like really interesting because his like biggest song is a cover.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think in this day and age with the rise of like being able to platform yourself, do you think that will change? Do you think that, it will become more of like a remote opportunity and stuff?
Yes. That's a good segue to this. I got a random message on Instagram from this guy. He's a DJ from Spain.
Wow.
Yeah. And was like, hey, I wrote this song about my son. But like, I'm not a singer. I really like your voice. Do you think you could, would you be interested in singing this song? And he sent it over to me and he said, I'm sorry, like, English isn't my first language. So some of it might not be, 100% or whatever. So I got to go through and kind of like edit stuff and then send it back and forth to him. And then eventually I think he had maybe put it through Suno or something, like one of the AI things to like
translate or whatever.
Well, like one of the AI like songwriting things. That's a big controversial topic.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know if you ever like played around with them, but they're a lot of fun. Some people are like, worried that it might overtake songwriters' jobs, but you can put like lyrics into it or song ideas, and it'll just like spit out
stuff,
more song ideas.
Yeah.
And I think he'd put the lyrics into this thing, and anyways, like he sent me that, so it's like it's AI singing.
Like your voice AI singing?
That's what I was saying. I was like, whose voice is this? I think AI just takes whatever genre it is and then just takes popular voices from that and somehow puts them into a blender and spits it out into it's wild. I don't know how it works.
Sounds creepy.
It's weird. Yeah, so he sent me this thing, and anyways, I kind of fixed some things to make more sense, but yeah, that was kind of like a for hire situation, and we did like a full band version of it, and then like an acoustic version of it, and it was cool.
Interesting situation, gig kind of thing. Very interesting. I was wondering, like, because I saw your name in the credits. I'm like, I don't think he has children. And the song's very obviously about having a child, you know?
Yeah.
So that was interesting. That's kind of interesting to hear the backstory of it. But yeah, that sounds very interesting. Very cool, somewhat. And then also the AI part is the plot twist, scary part. But the rest was very cool.
Yeah. And then there is other stuff where I worked for a second with a friend of mine, Brian Craddock. He is the guitar player for the band Daughtry.
Oh, yeah.
And for a second, they started this company called Song Toast, where it was like custom songs for people that would, be like a birthday gift or whatever. And
did you do any of that?
Yeah. So I did like 3 or 4 of them, I think. And it was really cool. It was like they would give the people like a list of things to make like a prompt, and they'd be like, tell us the backstory. It's like, oh, so this is
like
for my
Mad Libs or something, but
kind of, yeah,
songwriters?
Yeah, like that for songwriters. So then the person would fill it out, and then it would come back to. There was like a team of songwriters, but I was one of them, and they would pick whether they want, did you want a male singer or a female singer, and that kind of stuff, and like what genre do you want, and what else? Then they would just, tell you the story that they wanted you to write about. Did they want the person's like name in it or nickname, that kind of stuff?
That sounds really interesting, like almost like an exercise or math equation kind of.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it felt like. It was like they were like exercises, but it helped. It was really cool.
Sounds like a good experience.
The best part was like hearing like the people be like, "Oh my gosh, we've already listened to this on repeat like 100 times." Like the person loved it, you know, that kind of thing. So it was cool. It was kind of like it's like a greeting card like company, but or like a singing gram or whatever.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, so let's get into the last verse, and it goes, "I've seen more than most people should. That's why I feel I'm damaged goods. The awful things my heart's withstood. Now broken parts and damaged goods."
Yeah, so with that, as I mentioned, like childhood trauma, I'll just say I lost my dad when I was 11 years old, and I feel like that's what, attributed to being like, again, not stone-hearted, but just not as like emotionally available sometimes. And that's what I kept going back to with this song, feeling like damaged goods. Like, I wish that I could feel the same way that other people could.
So there's no resolve in this song? Like, you feel the same way the whole time?
Right, yeah, it is. It does end pretty sad for being, like I said, normally I'm a class clown. Like, I'm just happy-go-lucky, always joking guy. Like,
the
I'm not
vibe
a
of the
sad
song
guy.
too is like,
Yeah.
like, I was dancing if you didn't see that. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, the vibe of the song is like very cheery. So it's interesting that the words are so deep. And I think that is actually true with a lot of your music, where it has like lots and lots of layers to it, but on the surface it's just a catchy bop kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, not to say it's just catchy, but like, you know what I mean? It's like the song The Ghost of You, that is a heart-wrenching song, but like, I'm just like singing it in the hallway, you know, walking down the, you know, like, it's not like I don't know, you do a good job of mixing kind of the deep stuff with the pop. I don't know if pop's the right word, but you know, like the upbeat.
Yeah, no, that's my goal. I think I was saying that earlier. Like, I've always, like, my brain has always worked that way. Like, I've always been a fan of, like, give me, 3 minutes and it's got to be super catchy. Like, no matter what, even if it's like a sad song, an acoustic song, even a slow song, like, it's still the most important thing to me is that it's like that you get stuck in your head.
Yeah.
Even if it's super deep or sad or anything like that, like, it's
you took this ballad that's like balancing thoughts of your addiction and family illness in some sort of capacity, and it's a song that I was even saying to you earlier that I would want to clap along to. Like,
right.
Like, yeah. So we're actually coming to the end, and I like to ask this question to all the songwriters that come on the show. Could you offer a piece of advice for a fellow songwriter?
Really honesty. I think when I started songwriting, all I pretty much did was just, like, I would write down lyrics that sounded like the other songs that I really liked, but they weren't actually about me or like real life or anything. They just sounded like other lyrics that people would sing along. But I've grown more comfortable with really pushing myself to be honest. Like, for instance, like this song, like, talking about alcoholism or just drinking too much and not being afraid of being too honest. I think that has helped me most, and it's therapeutic too, to actually write down what you're feeling, not what you think people want to hear.
So authenticity and honesty in your songwriting.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for being on the podcast, Jimmy.
Thank you for having me. Like, I'm a total nerd over this stuff, so it's like, I don't know, I love this.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great. Well, thank you for coming. And thank you for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please follow us. You can check out our website. We will have a full blog post on Jimmy Mowery, written by a very talented writer that we team up with. Her name's Darian. She's awesome.
I thought you were talking about yourself for a second.
No, I'm not talking about myself.
That's cool.
No, I forgot the word writer, just like I forgot the word geography. We're very smart here. And yeah. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.
All right, wrap it then.
Wrap it.
Wrap it up, put a bow on it.
Yeah.